Hollywood has taught us a lot about spy chiefs. They live in the shadows, they rarely appear in the public, and they go by secretive code names. The real picture may not be so dramatic. But when spy chiefs make high-profile public appearances, rest assured something is up. Wednesday was one such day. Not one, but two spy chiefs made a joint appearance. FBI's Director Christopher Wray and MI5 Director Ken McCallum. The FBI is the Federal Bureau of Investigation. It is the top investigation authority in the United States. The MI5 is Britain's top intelligence agency. Both organizations have separate domains on either side of the Atlantic. Yet on Wednesday, they came together in London. The reason? Listen in for yourself.
Today is the first time the heads of the FBI and MI5 have shared a public platform. We're doing so to send the clearest signal we can on a massive shared challenge: China.
Both men painted a very grim assessment. The MI5 has doubled its work against China in the last 3 years. They are handling 7 times as many cases as in 2018. The FBI also has upped the ante. Both agencies feel China is beyond redemption, that any hope of political reform is pointless.
The widespread Western assumption that growing prosperity within China and increasing connectivity with the West would automatically lead to greater political freedom has, I'm afraid, been shown to be plain wrong. But the Chinese Communist Party is interested in our democratic, media and legal systems, not to emulate them, sadly, but to use them for its gain.
The FBI chief also outlined some specific threats like digital assets and technology. He directly addressed tech CEOs and university heads. His message to them was quite simple: China is coming for your technology. Listen in.
The Chinese government is set on stealing your technology, whatever it is that makes your industry tick, and using it to undercut your business and dominate your market. And they're set on using every tool at their disposal to do it.
This joint address is important for 2 reasons. Number one, such a press conference has never happened before. The FBI and MI5 chiefs have never delivered a joint address. This tells you how big the threat is. And number two, the direct nature of the allegations. The FBI called Beijing the biggest long-term threat to the West. Their address covered 3 main issues. One was Taiwan. The FBI believes the threat of a Chinese invasion is still high, and if that happens, the supply disruptions would be catastrophic. According to the FBI, much bigger than the current ones. Issue number 2 was espionage. China has been accused of running a massive hacking campaign much bigger than any other countries. It has also been accused of snooping on corporates, not just the big Fortune 500 companies, but even startups. Issue number 3 was China's predatory investments. This includes technology theft, intellectual property rights violations, and acquisition of strategic assets. This is how the FBI chief described China's tactics.
But in addition to traditional and cyber-enabled thievery, there are even more insidious tactics they'll use to essentially walk through your front door and then rob you. The Chinese government likes to do this by making investments and creating partnerships that position their proxies to steal valuable technology.
And how is China reacting to these claims? With disdain. China accused the 2 agencies of Cold War mentality. It said this was a plan to play up the China threat and provoke confrontation. But frankly, it's a hard sell. Chinese companies have been known to spy for the Communist Party. Their nationals have been charged with espionage abroad. The only difference is this: Western agencies are now openly calling them out. For years, the US was focused on the cyber threat from Russia. But during this time, China built up its capacity. Today, its cyber army is huge, almost 50,000 to 100,000 strong. And unlike in the West, these are not anti-establishment hackers. These are pro-communist hackers. They work to further China's interests all over the world, and that includes India. New Delhi must also take note of this threat. Earlier this year, an illegal club was raided in the national capital region. Inside, the cops found Chinese nationals living without permits. Reports say it could have been a spying ring. Similar reports had emerged last year as well. The same applies to Chinese companies. They are actively trying to buy controlling stakes in key industries. So India too must be vigilant. It must invest more in cybersecurity, build up firewalls, and be on the lookout for dubious Chinese designs. Because this threat may have been flagged by the West, but it affects all of us. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.